again for our second week in a row. Just so you know, this is fully live. So hopefully you guys are hopping on and you can see where to get on now because this stream is starting. We haven't fully started yet. We're going to start in a couple minutes. We still have 2 minutes before our service actually starts, but I wanted to just hop on right now. And this is kind of our waiting room as we wait for you guys to hop on, to get on the broadcast. I'm checking to make sure that we are live. Pulling it up on my phone right now to see if we are live, like I think we are. We are. We're live right now. I'm watching myself on the phone. It's kind of weird. But we're just chilling, waiting right now. 4 of you have already hopped on. You're waiting. What's up, Clover? How's it going? What's up, CF Brentwood? Cooper, how's it going, dude? Oh, man. Cooper, I never thought I'd say this, but I miss you running around the student center shooting me with Nerf darts. That's how much I miss all this. Paige, Clover, I knew it was – there we go. I knew it was you, Paige. What's up, everyone? Elise, how's it going? I know, and your sister's the other one, Paige. Peyton's like just like the letters. I don't know which one she is, but yeah. Good to see you guys hopping on. When you're here, let me know. There's 9 of you now hopping on. We're going to start in about 1 minute for real, all right? But it's so good to be back with you guys fully live again. So, yeah, just so you guys know, Griffin, what up, dude? Can't wait to hear from you later in this. What's up, McKenna? How's it going, girl? Michael, hello. What's up? I see you guys all coming in here now. Awesome. Well, we're going to get started in a sec, but man, I'm so excited to be fully live. You're going to hear from Jake later too. Jake's on the stream right now. I see him in there. There it is. So a couple rules before we get fully started with our service today. I've said this like four times already, but it is fully live, which means there could be some technical difficulties. There could be that kind of stuff. So thank you for rolling with us. But also because it's live, that means you guys can comment. I can see you guys comment. We got Fish Vision in the house. Sando's here with us. That's awesome. We just are rolling live. So you guys ask questions in that chat. We can answer those questions for you, and there'll be a couple times throughout this service where you can ask those and we will answer. So make sure you're doing that. Also, just a quick note, this chat is for you guys to interact and for us to answer questions and stuff, but I just want to let you guys know right now. Mariana, what's up, girl? She just joined. We got people joining all over the place. But, hey, this chat, sometimes you guys have a tendency, a few of you, to spam the chat. And so I just want to call that out right now. If you're going to just throw like 400 different emojis in a row, that's kind of spamming the chat. If you're just going to say the same thing over and over, that's kind of spamming the chat. If you're going to say rude things or things that probably just shouldn't be said on there, we're going to have to remove you in love. All right, we love you. We think you're awesome, but that's the rule. So we're gonna have to remove you if you're gonna be spamming the chat. So don't spam. Griffin doesn't want you to spam either. But I see you guys join in. I'm so glad that you guys are with us, and we are gonna be starting this in just a second. I know you guys love our hosts. Our hosts are the best in the biz, and so I'm gonna go ahead and bring them on right now. Starting with your favorite giant redhead, and he's coming on with me right now. Welcome, Sando. What's up, Sando? How's it going?
I don't know. That weird face I thought I was thinking like I wanted to actually look like Jared coming on, so that's why I did this.
I know. Well, that was pretty close. We can actually bring Jared on. Let's see if he's on right now. I don't know. Do you see him on there?
Hey, you kind of look like E.T., bro, when he's extending his neck.
Wow. Can you hear him?
Should I start talking?
Yeah.
I can hear you guys.
Should we just get rid of him?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you, big dog.
I can hear you, Sando.
Right. Hey, does your mom say that ET phone home thing to you?
Does my mom say the ET phone home thing to me? No, She never does that. She tells me how beautiful of an angel I am, like most human beings do. But man, I am so glad to be with all of you again on another Sunday. And honestly, this is a really great Sunday because last night, woof, man, last night was so
last night was fire.
Yeah. I can't believe how well the senior grad party went last night. I was pumped to see all my, Brentwood students came out. I saw some Hayward kids, Danville, Livermore. Everyone was there, and it was sick. Like it was so much fun. Santa, what was some of your highlights from last night?
Yeah, I think I love just getting to see students from every campus, leaders from every campus, come through and just be celebrated. It obviously is not wasn't ideal circumstances to do graduation and whatnot, but to be able to put on an event like that was just so fun, and you could see the joy and excitement in students' faces. So I mean, there were so many highlights for me. What about for you?
Yeah, I mean, it brought tears to my eyes to see my students and their families.
You cried?
Dude, I cried. I cried. Yeah, because my heart goes out to these seniors. In Brentwood, it's been a difficult year already, and then to go into shelter and place your senior year, and you're missing out on your senior trips and your graduation. Nothing's normal. You know what I mean? And so to do something that we've never done before to really show how much we love and honor our seniors, it was such a cool experience. And I'm so thankful that all the students that came out, and if you didn't come out, maybe you could watch the video. I know one of your boys out in Hayward's vlogging it, right? And then we're going to make a little recap. Yeah. It may be a little immature, but it's going to be good, but it was so much fun, man. It's so much fun. The Italian sodas were so good. I couldn't believe how much fun it really turned out to be.
Well, and I think a great thing for us to remember too, Jared, and all of this is this is just an example of how we can get creative with church and how we do things in this season and kind of this new normal we operate in. And I just want to take a moment to especially give you and Jake a shout out, because you guys really were the think tanks to putting this whole thing together. And I just want to give you two a shout out. This is a serious moment. Normally I don't have those, but you guys did a terrific job, and thanks for making that happen.
Oh man, I know for myself and Jake, Jake was the brains of the operation, and it was so funny. I remember as we were setting it up, I was like, man, this doesn't look that great. And then when it got dark, it was sick, and it was so good. And thank you guys all for coming out. We're probably going to make this a Cornerstone tradition. So thank you guys all for coming out and joining us.
What up? I just had to join back in. I just wanted to cut off Jared because he sometimes he acts more like Skip. And so
yeah, he was getting a little skippy there. I was thinking I was on the screen with Peanut Butter because he was getting a little skippy.
Oh, that's good. Hey, for real though, what do you think of this shine that I got going on though? The lighting right now really accentuates my bald features, and I like it.
I'm thinking that I need to put a cloth on your head, and then need to put that same cloth on my shoes. It'll give my shoes a nice little shimmer. I'll be walking around town getting all the looks.
That's true. I know. My 1-year-old, she comes up to me and she always looks at my head and she's like, "Sweaty? Are you sweaty?" I'm like, "No, just shiny." It's pretty good. But hey, we're gonna have a little bit of fun here. I got kind of a little bit of a game that we're gonna do, and so I'm gonna kick you off for a second and explain how we're gonna do this. But so here's what we're going to do is we're going to have Jake and Griffin one at a time. They're going to come on and they are going to hear a phrase, okay, from me. But I'm going to be muted. So they're not actually going to be able to hear what I'm saying. They're going to have to read my lips. Okay. So the first person that I'm going to bring on, for this is going to be Griffin. And so Griffin, what I need you to do right now, you're not on here yet, okay, is just to close your eyes so you don't know what this phrase is that's going to come on. Okay. So here it is. You guys can all see this. This is what I'm going to be saying. Okay. I'm going to be saying this, and we're going to see if he can guess what I'm saying without seeing or without hearing what I'm saying. So just reading my lips. I know it's a pretty nice statement there. It's a true statement. So we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. So we're gonna get this off the screen. You can open your eyes now because we're gonna bring on Griffin right now. So here he is. And
yo,
how you feeling about this game right now, Griff?
I'm actually feeling really strong.
Really strong. Okay. All right. How's your lip reading skills?
We're about to find out. We are about to find out.
We're about to find out. Okay. So I'm going to mute myself here, and then I'm going to read you this statement, and you're going to tell me, okay?
All right. Let's go. You said my name first. I know that for sure. You said Griffin. Griffin's. Can you say it again? Griffin's Ferry. Griffin's Ferry. Something. One more time. One more time. Griffin's Ferry. Griffin's Ferry. Something about a ball. Griffin's Ferry ball. Something.
All right. You wanna see what you got?
What do I got?
Okay, here it is.
Oh, I got the ball part.
Yeah. Like okay. All right, you got Griffin and ball. There you go. And so you got. I guess we would say you got 2 points right there. Okay.
Oh, take the 2 points.
So here's my question: do you think you or Jake is going to do better?
Oh, Jake's going to do better, 100%.
Okay. All right. We'll see.
I'm not even going to front. Jake's going to take it.
All right. We'll see. Okay. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to put on. So Jake, don't look right now, Jake. This is the phrase that you are going to have to see. So Jake's not looking. He's got his eyes closed. Here's what we're doing for Jake. Okay. All right. So you guys see that? You can see what that's going to be. There it is. All right. So we're going to get rid of that, Jake. All right. You can look again, Jake, and I'm going to go ahead and bring you in right now. All right. So we're going to have Jake in here. Jake, are you with us?
Let's go. Can you hear me?
Are you with us right now?
Can you hear me?
Jake, bringing you on.
Hello.
I don't know. I can't see Jake right now.
Hello?
I don't know if you guys can or not.
Hello.
Let's see. Let's try again with Jake. See if I can bring him in. In the meantime, I'll just bring Griff back in so we can talk about it. Did you see his statement that he has to decipher?
He's getting this.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. We'll see if he can do it. All right, we'll see if we can bring Jake back on and see. Here he comes. Let's see. Jake coming on right now.
We'll
see.
Hello there.
Right.
Oh,
Jake.
Yes, sir.
Let's see what you got right now.
Okay, let's go.
I'm going to go ahead and mute myself. I'm going to leave Griffin on so he can see your reaction here. So I'm going to mute myself.
To be honest with you, bro, I'm worried.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how this goes.
All right,
so, Jake, just read my lips, and you're going to have to say what you think it is. All right? You're going to have to say what you think it is. So here we go.
I can't hear you. What? Hold on. Say that again. Can you do it one more time? Okay, yeah. Jake's water weights are made of...
Stop it. No.
Are made of orange something? Jake's water weights are made of orange melons?
All right, how did you do? How did you do there, Griff?
I don't know.
Let's show it.
All right, here we go. Ready? We're going to go right now. You're going to be able to see how bad you did.
Dang. I was close, dog.
You were in the ballpark. If there was a
I was
ballpark, you
close.
were in it. You were in the vicinity.
So how many did he get right? How many words did he get right?
I think you got your name right, right?
Yeah, I said Jake's water weights are made of orange
Yeah.
melons or something like that.
All righty.
I was close.
Well, thank you guys so much for playing. I mean, I thought it was pretty awesome. I don't know about you guys, but I thought it was pretty awesome. And so what we're going to do right now is we are going to actually go into something that is a really important part of our service, which is our worship component, which is one that's been difficult to do from a distance, right? Like we have all been not gathering in person and doing online services, but we're actually going to be doing live worship. And so my encouragement to you would just be to really just use this time as a time to worship, even though maybe you're at your house or you're in your room or wherever you're at right now. Just use this time to focus on God and to worship him together with us. And again, we are fully live. And so please excuse any of the technical issues that we might have, but we really want to just worship with you right now. So please just welcome the band and really put your heart in a place where you can worship the Lord right now.
You are my freedom. We lift you higher, your love, never ending. Oh, oh, oh. You are alive in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love that set us free. Whoa. Down and set free. Everything of this world will fade. I'm pressing on till I see your face. I believe that you will be mine. I won't stop till your kingdom come. You are my freedom. We lift you higher, your love, never ending. Oh, oh, oh. You are alive in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love that set us free. You are alive in us. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love that set us free. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Hey, how is it going, everyone? I know I just saw you a second ago when I was doing really awesome at that game, and I'm so good at it, and Griffin's really bad, but that's okay. today we are going to be starting kind of a new topic that's not actually new, but it's new to what we've been talking about in the previous weeks. So today the plan is that we're going to talk through depression just a little bit. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask and I'm just not very good at it. And I know that word is has a lot of it might stir up a lot of feelings for some different people. It might stir up no feelings for you. Maybe you're someone that's on the side of. I have a friend who he has never experienced something like depression in his life, and every time I try to talk to him about what I'm going through, he's just kind of like, "Yeah, dude, I have no idea what to say because I don't even know what that means." And that's okay if you're there. And it's also, I want to let you know, it's also okay if you are on the side of like, I do experience that. I have gone through that. That is something that's a reality for me. That's okay too. But I just wanted to touch on a few things just really quickly. I know if you're a Danville student, I would probably talk about anything for way too long, and you'd be like, when is this guy going to stop talking? But that's not going to happen today. Maybe we'll see. But one of the things I just wanted to do is give a definition of depression. This is a definition that I found. It says depression is a mood disorder that causes a persistent feeling of sadness and loss of interest, also called a major depressive disorder or clinical depression. It affects how you feel, think, and behave, and can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems. Before I go on, what I need to let you know is that I have gone through depression several times. If you want to go back and listen to my life story in our stories series, there's kind of some reasons why I might have ended up feeling that way. And every single time, I don't even know how to explain it, how to understand it or define it. I have no idea like what to do. And I think that's true for everyone who goes through, maybe you wouldn't say depression, but you would say like you're in this really low place where everything just feels foggy, and maybe you've lost motivation to do anything. You've lost motivation to eat healthy or to eat at all. You've lost motivation to exercise or to sleep or whatever. Maybe you've become really bitter and really angry because of this heavy weight that it feels like you're carrying every day. I used to tell people it felt like I was walking through like waist high mud or quicksand, and I wasn't going anywhere, and it just felt like I was stuck, and there was just no way to get out of it. And that's such a heavy feeling to carry every single day. And what's worse is when you're in that place, you feel like you can't talk to anybody about this, because either what gives you the right to be like, nothing crazy is going on in your life, so you're like, people are going to think it's so silly or like really dumb. If I say I'm feeling depressed, they're like, what do you have to be depressed about? Your life's great. You like, I don't know, you have a bunch of stuff and whatever. I was trying to think of some cool examples, but I don't have any. Or maybe it's like, you don't think people are going to understand, or you don't think they'll care. And so you just like keep that inside and you don't share it with anyone. And I know that because that's what I've done. I know that that's the easiest lie to believe, is that this is something you have to keep to yourself, that this is something no one will understand what you're going through because you're the only one that's going through this. And that's a lie. The truth is that that's the lie the enemy wants you to believe, that the world wants you to think you actually are the only one going through this. No one else will understand. And you have to keep it all inside. And what I learned as I've gone through my battles of depression, I would say right now I'm in a really healthy place. But last year, man, I feel like in every one of my sermons at Danville, I would talk about how like I was going through this thing. I went through it for probably 12 months, my most recent one. And what I learned was, I think the biggest cause, or not cause, but encourager of falling into a place of depression or feeling depressed or feeling just low and heavy is disconnection. I found that when we start to feel disconnected from other people and isolated, it can make us feel low and sad and fall into this place of depression. And I mean disconnected, like physically and emotionally. Like maybe you feel like you need to see people all the time, otherwise you're kind of losing that feeling of connection. But I remember being in a room full of people, a room full of my friends, and still feeling like, man, I'm lonely. I'm here by myself. No one knows what I'm going through. This is something that I can't talk about. And even though I'm surrounded by people who I know they say they love me, it doesn't feel that way. And it doesn't feel like I'm ever going to escape this pit. So I think it's disconnection from that. I think it's disconnection from God. I think we can slip into this place when we feel like either God isn't there for us, he didn't come through on something we've been praying for, he hasn't answered the call or the prayer or the miracle that we've been asking for, or he doesn't talk to us, or that feeling that we once had from him, it's just not there anymore. And so we feel disconnected from God. But then I also think we choose to be disconnected from God when we're in a place of depression, because it might seem like, man, I can't go to you for anything. Maybe you don't trust God fully, and so you stop talking to him. Maybe you're worried that your problems aren't big enough for him to solve, and so you stop talking to him. Maybe you feel like you don't deserve to be healed. You don't deserve to get out of this, so you stop talking to him. Maybe you don't even see an end in sight, and so you're like, there isn't anything God can do, so why would I talk to him? And so then you disconnect yourself from God, and that allows you to sink deeper and deeper into this place of depression. And then I think the last one, which is what I think is the most subtle and sneaky one of all, is that we become disconnected from ourselves. That depression actually convinces you that when you are depressed, you're not you, and there's something wrong with you, and you have to be like fixed. And so you have this idea in your mind that like, man, I'm broken and I need to be fixed. And will I ever get fixed? Is there anything that can cure this? I don't think so. And so this just isn't me, but I'm never going to be me again. Man, I remember when I was fun, Jake, and I used to like have good jokes, and now I have terrible ones, or I don't know, whatever it is, but it just allows you to slip further and further into this place of depression, and you lose the ability to treat yourself like a human being. You lose the ability to love who you are. You lose the ability to care for yourself in a way that Jesus is trying to care for you. And I think that is what leads us into this deep, dark pit of depression. And I'm gonna leave it there on that topic. I want to leave you with some tension that we can talk through, because I know Griffin's got kind of the steps towards healing process, and I'm not going to tackle that at all. But I just wanted to say one quick thing. There is a lot going on in our world right now. I agree that depression is one of the biggest plagues that we face, but I also think that this racial injustice thing that's going on right now, I would not be doing Jesus. I would not be following Jesus correctly if I didn't say something about that. And man, my heart is just breaking. Just as I was saying, how we lose the ability to treat ourselves like human beings, I think there's still a part of this world where we've lost the ability to treat other people like human beings. It doesn't matter which side you're on or whatever. It doesn't matter if you agree with these emotional outbreaks, these cries for help, just saying like, please, somebody hear us, because we've been persecuted and oppressed, and it just breaks my heart. And I think it would be valuable for you to think through that, for you to talk through that with people. I know right now, today, we're going to be talking about depression, but that is something that I've been losing sleep over. I've been crying most days when I think about it. That video of George Floyd has just been burned into my brain. So I just wanted to bring that up, because Jesus would do something about that, and I think we need to also. We have to be able to treat other people like human beings. And on the topic of depression, we need to learn how to treat ourselves like human beings. So I'm going to leave it there in this place of tension. We're going to talk through some questions. If you have questions, can you please ask them right now in the chat? So Todd can switch us over, and we can start answering the team. So I love you guys. Thanks for listening to me. Ask your questions.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys have questions, go ahead and you can ask those questions. I mean, there's so much going on right now, and obviously what Jake just unpacked is very heavy on two regards. I mean, one is just a lot of the inside feelings that we're feeling right now when it comes to depression and anxiety and feelings of being overwhelmed, but also the situations that we see in the world that also contribute to those feelings inside of us. And so we want to be able to talk through that, answer those questions, and be able to just really help you guys process that. We know and we acknowledge that you guys are going through this right now, because all of us are. And just as Jake said, like the thing that I think we don't get a lot of times is like that it's okay to admit that you're not okay. And it's okay for you to say, man, like I'm going through this right now. And maybe a lot of you need to get to that step where you're able to say that, like, hey, I just got to be honest, like I'm not doing well right now. And so we want to give you time to process that. And again, like I said, for like the 70 people that are watching live right now, go ahead and if you have any questions for any of us or for just in general, go ahead and drop them in the chat right now. And we want to answer those. We want to talk to you guys about that and just kind of help you process kind of everything that's going on, but maybe personally what's going on with you as well. And I just want to remind you, like one of our core values here is just being real. And so sometimes it's stepping out and you feel like if I ask this question, like people are going to think that I have issues. Well, I just want to stop there and let you know everyone has issues. And so finding healing and finding hope is more important than being fake. And so go ahead and ask that. Do we help people with depression? What if they don't want help? Like, how do you help someone with depression? And what if they don't want help? And I'm going to ask Jake that right now. So Jake, like, what are some ones that we can do to help? And like, what if that person doesn't want any help?
Yeah. I think that is the biggest question of all. And I think even for myself, I didn't even know the answer to that question. And today, I honestly, I don't think I have a lot of answers to a lot of the questions you guys are asking, or I definitely don't have a lot of answers. I don't have any answers to the things that you think you have answers to. But speaking specifically about depression, how do you help someone who's going through that? I think it's just being there for them when they don't think you are. I think it's just maintaining a presence that is constant, because someone who's going through that believes this lie that no one is there for me. No one can help me. I can't even help myself, but just being there. But the other truth, the other reality that you need to understand is that you cannot save somebody from depression. You cannot carry that weight. That isn't on you. I know and I believe that Jesus is the only person, the only one who can save us, who can heal us. But we can still be there. We can still talk about it. Just like how I know I mentioned a pretty polarizing topic that's now just blasting off in the chat, but this is also something that needs to be talked about. And if we're afraid to ask our friends how they're actually doing, or if you ask your friends how they're doing and they say they're feeling depressed, and then you're afraid to hear how they're doing, or even ask them further questions like, well, what can I do? Or what does that actually mean for you? Then we're losing the ability to treat each other like human beings. Because I think as human beings, we talk about stuff. We work through stuff together. We don't say, "Whoa, I don't understand depression, so that's a you thing, and I'm gonna be over here in my box of happiness. So good luck with that. And when you're better, when you're fixed, then we can be friends again." It doesn't work like that. We have to stick together. We have to stay united. So I think that's really the main thing, is just maintaining a constant presence and just being real and being there. So that's all I got.
Hello? Hey, I can't hear you, Todd, but that's okay. I think this issue kind of starts with the idea of a journey, and we use that language a lot when it comes to just the Christian world. But I think mental health in and of itself is a journey, because in any journey, there's a lot of ebbs and flows. There's a lot of ups and downs, and there's no clear place of arrival sometimes. Maybe some days, if you're dealing with depression or anxiety and you struggle with your mental health, you feel really strong. But other days, you feel like you're kind of in a cloud. And when you're in a cloud, it's hard to see what step to go to next. And actually, we see in the scriptures, we see a story of a man named Elijah, who really comes to the end of himself. And I kind of want to share this story with you guys because I think it might resonate with you. I think it might resonate with anyone who's dealt with depression, dealt with anxiety, dealt with just mental health issues, whether it be situationally, maybe you're in a season where you struggled with it, maybe you know someone who struggled with it, maybe you actually have been diagnosed with it from a doctor, wherever you're at. I think this is going to speak to you. And the story picks up in 1 Kings chapter 19. And the scripture says that Elijah was afraid. It says he was afraid. It says he was afraid and he was alone. He comes to the end of himself because he felt pressure. He felt so much pressure around him from the things that were going on in his life. He actually literally runs away. And what happens is, one of the questions that was asked is, what are the signs of depression? In the chat, someone asked this. One of the signs you know that you're dealing with it is you start running away from your responsibilities. When you are emotionally drained and your mental health isn't strong, you actually run away from your responsibilities because you don't have the energy to endure the journey ahead of you. And this is where Elijah actually finds himself in this moment in the story. Scripture says he was afraid. He's alone and afraid, and he ran into the wilderness. It's beautiful imagery because the wilderness is actually showing him, and it's showing us, that was a reflection of his heart. He felt lost, felt like no one was around, felt isolated. And it says that he came to the end of himself and he sat at this tree and he literally asked God to take his life away. He didn't have the energy. He didn't have the capacity to move forward in his journey. He felt, I don't know how I'm going to get to the other side of this. I don't know how I'm going to ever get better. And he literally asked God, take my life. I don't know if I can make it, God. I don't know. And he's so exhausted. He actually falls asleep. He falls asleep. And in verse 5, it says this: an angel touched him and said to him, arise and eat. And he looked, and behold, there was at his head a cake baked on hot stones and a jar of water. And he ate and drank and laid down again. This is amazing. Literally, God sends an angel, and the angel baked him a cake. And he's like, all right, that was a great cake. I'm going to go back to sleep. And then verse 7, and the angel of the Lord came again after he fell asleep, and a second time, and touched him and said, arise and eat, for the journey is too great for you. And he arose, ate and drank, and went in that strength for the food for 40 days and 40 nights. You need to know this right now. If you're dealing with mental health issues, depression, anxiety, maybe you just have an overwhelming sense of fear that things are not going to work out. God doesn't just want to meet your spiritual needs, but he actually wants to meet your physical needs as well. I love that before God even speaks to him in the next coming verses, he gives him what he really needs. He needs to sleep and he needed to eat. And you need to know that what you take in will determine your ability to endure what is in front of you. What you're taking in on a daily basis will determine what your ability to endure the journey in front of you. If the journey feels too great, the reason why that might be is because you're not taking in the right things. He didn't have the capacity to take care of himself or to even give himself what he needed. And God's like, I'm going to give you just physically what you need. You need to eat and you need to sleep. And this might sound crazy right now, but maybe some of you actually need to get your sleep schedule right. Maybe some of you right now need to start taking in the right foods. And I actually think it's a path to start getting the small things right in your life to get your mind back. And so God actually really cares about the physical. He doesn't just care about your spiritual needs. He cares about your physical needs as well. I think it's really important. And the scripture says this in 2 Corinthians. It says, take captive of every thought to make it obedient to Christ. Not every thought that you get in your head is a thought to entertain. A lot of the things that I believe that cause depression in our life, we're intaking so much information. We're intaking so much things about who we are and what we think we are, and it suppresses us, and then we isolate. It's actually, I think, really important to evaluate, to take captive, to take control of the thoughts in our mind and realize that not every thought that enters my mind is a thought that I need to entertain. And so a part of that is filling your mind up with, it's crazy, filling your mind up with the Word of God. Because when the Word of God is the primary voice in your life, other voices that come in to try and tell you who you are, to define you by your depression, to define you by your anxiety, to define you by your struggle, they will actually start to begin to drown out when the primary voice in your life is the Word of God. It's worshiping God. And so God cares not just about your physical needs, but your spiritual needs as well. And there's power in praise. There's power in praying to God, which is just a fancy word for talking to God. And so just really believe, and we have a heart for any of you right now. I know there's so many people that maybe you're silently suffering. Maybe no one even knows that you're having a hard time going to sleep at night. Maybe no one knows that you're having a hard time getting up in the morning. Maybe no one knows that you feel anxious in social settings. Maybe no one knows that when you're by yourself, you feel really, really sad. And there's an overwhelming sense of despair in your life. God cares so deeply about your struggles, and he wants to help you. He loves you so much, and so do we. And so I'd love to create a conversation around this issue of depression, anxiety, and mental health, and maybe we can start answering those things and maybe get a little bit of a dialogue around that.
Absolutely. And man, that's so much wisdom right there, Griff. And Maddie's really vibing with you in the chat. She's really feeling like you're speaking right to her with some of those things. And so that's awesome. But yeah, guys, whatever questions you have for Griff, for Jake, for any of us, or just in general, man, we want to be able to interact with you and talk with you. The thing that I miss the most, I don't know about you, Griff, but the thing that I miss the most is just being able to talk with and hang out with students, you know, and this whole thing has been crazy, but we want to be able to interact with you here and talk with you guys, and really not just talk at you, but have a conversation and discussion. So any questions that you guys have, go ahead and throw them in the chat right there. We want to answer those, and then we're going to end with some more worship a little bit later, but we want to answer some of those questions first and really just talk through what that looks like. And again, just great job with your message right there, Griff. Do you have like anything else practically that maybe the students can really hold on to that they can do right now during this time?
Yeah, absolutely. I talk about this all the time, and I think it's really important to all of us to not be scared of this word, and the word is discipline. I think it's really important because the word discipline can kind of be scary, because when you think of discipline, you think, oh, I'm in trouble. You think I did something wrong. And actually what a discipline is, it's something that you do to create boundaries around your life so that when your desire is out of place, you do the right thing instead of the wrong thing. Because you know, if I choose the right thing, in the long term, it's going to help me. Because if I choose what's convenient, I'm going to end up hurting myself. And so you actually have to start creating disciplines in your life. And if you do this early on, this will help you so much as you get older. Because if you create disciplines in your life to help keep your mental health like actually sustainable and not like a roller coaster ride all the time, you will actually really begin to see improvement. And so I think that the disciplines that you do are from a spiritual aspect, is being in God's word every day, is creating time to devote to God. And I think that's really critical on a daily basis, because I know for me, the common denominator in any day that I've had that's been bad for me, or where I felt kind of down in the dumps, or felt overwhelmed or anxious, the common theme has always been I wasn't in the word enough. I wasn't connecting with God enough.
Yeah.
And when you start to feed your soul its greatest need, which is God, it starts to crave it even more, because everyone longs for God. Your greatest need is to be connected to the one who created you. And so when you start to give your soul that need, it craves it even more. You don't know what you don't know when you're disconnected from God. But when you start to get connected to him, and then maybe for a day or two, you start to disconnect, you start to feel it in your soul. You start to feel it in your emotions, in your mental health. And so I think it's important to go, no, actually, whether I feel like it or not today, I'm going to be committed to connecting with the one who made me, not just because he told me to, because I actually want that desire in my life. I want to be connected to God. And I actually know it's better for me to. It's better for me to. I feel more joy. I feel hopeful about my future when I know the one who controls it, and that's God.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's so good. As you were talking, we had a couple more questions come in. Boxcat said, what triggers depression? Kind of that trigger. And then along that same lines, they asked, what's the starting point of depression? And so we're going to bring on Jared to answer that question and really have him unpack that. But what is the trigger? What is the starting point of that? And that's a great one. I want to hear what you have to say about that, Jared. Just, what's the trigger? What's the starting point? What do we do about that?
Yeah, and I think, honestly, that is a really great question, Catbox, because you asked it a couple different ways. But I know for myself, and then from experience with working with students, is one, there is no real trigger. For a lot of people who struggle with depression on like a mental illness side of things, it's just kind of a reality. And a lot of times you don't know. And I think being open and vulnerable with your close circle, your family, your friends, it really helps you to get the help that you need from a doctor or from a professional. But then for other people, because everyone can experience depression on some way, shape, form, or level, I think those spiritual disciplines that Griff was just talking about, that's a great way to stay balanced. And that's a great way to get right, because a lot of things can go into a depression. Like this shelter in place has put many of us into a type of depression, not eating correctly, not sleeping correctly, not exercising. A lot of these disciplines that we can have in our life can really put us on the right track and actually aim us to get us out of this depression. Even that story of Elijah that Griffin just shared about, right before he goes into this depression, right before he runs away because this woman's trying to kill him, he literally had called down fire from God. And I think a lot of times we're on these highs, we're on this like amazing journey. And then a lot of times we hit this like depression after, but we just keep it within. We run away, we isolate ourselves. So not only do these disciplines really help us stay right, but a lot of times our decisions of wanting to isolate, wanting to remove, wanting to not be with other people, or how we eat, how we drink, how we treat our bodies really can change and change our mindset neurologically and aim us towards a depression. So making those right decisions and putting yourself in a place to succeed every day is really going to help you in staying right. And the warning signs, or the triggers, you may say, are the opposites. You not eating, you not taking care of your body, you wanting to isolate yourselves, you wanting to remove yourselves, you not feeling right, and being open and vulnerable to the people closest to you, and then listening to your friends and to your families when they tell you, man, it seems like something's off. Man, that's really where it's going to help, and that's really going to stop those triggers and stop you from sliding down a path that could be leading towards something that is depression or serious depression, or removing yourself from your friends or family.
Jake, I'm going to go to you next on this next question. All right, we got Jake coming on next. And what we're going to do for him is he's going to answer a question that we got that I think is really important. Is how does this work person to person? because we don't know like how it works when it comes to maybe our neighbor who's depressed, or our friend or our sister is not the same as us. And so is it something that's long term, or does it really vary between person? Like, how does that work when it comes to each person? So Jake, if you could answer that one.
Yeah, this is a really complicated topic, because I think the truth is, I mean, I already said this, but I don't have a lot of answers to a lot of things that people think they have answers to, or to a lot of the questions that are being asked, and specifically this one, because if we knew that depression was case by case, like, oh, you have short-term depression, just maybe stop eating Taco Bell every day, every meal, and it'll go away in a couple of weeks, it'll be totally fine. Yours probably looks like long-term, so yeah, it's going to take you a little bit longer to get out of that. The truth is that you never know. You don't know when you're in that place. In fact, I would say when you're in that place, it feels like there's never going to be an end, that this is just something you're going to have to learn to live with for the rest of your life, and you feel hopeless. So I think it definitely varies person to person, but you're not going to be able to estimate that timeline just as much as the person going through it isn't going to be able to estimate that timeline. I think what's the most true is that you don't need to worry about how long is this going to last, how long am I going to live with this, how long is my neighbor or my friend or my mom or whoever, how long are they going to go through this? You don't need to worry about that. What you need to worry about is, I'm going to continue caring and loving every day, no matter how long it takes, whether that's loving your friend or your mom, your sister, or whatever, or loving yourself. You have to have this resolve that says, no matter how long this lasts, I will continue loving, even when it's hard, even when I can't. Some days you're going to wake up and you're just like, I don't even know how to love myself today. But you're just going to have this resolve that says, I am going to continue loving. Doesn't matter how long this lasts. I'm going to continue doing those things that Griffin and Jared have talked about, that are steps towards healing, that are spiritual disciplines, because there isn't a cure. That's the thing. We don't have a cure like, oh, if you do these 5 things, boom, depression's cured. It doesn't work like that. It's just steps towards healing. You have to keep walking. I said felt like I was walking through mud. The only way to get out is to just keep walking. So you don't know how long it's going to go, but keep walking. And if you've got people around you, you're going through it, keep walking with them. Be there with them. So that's all I got.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Great answer to that. And again, everybody, thanks for bearing with us with this like live situation and how we're live and all that stuff. I've had a few moments where I had some issues with that. Actually, I can't see or hear anyone else, so I'm trying to figure out how to like answer questions when I don't know what they're saying. But anyway, thank you guys for that. Also, obviously this is happening in our world right now, and it's being talked about in the chat and everything else, but there are lots of riots happening right now. There are a lot of things happening, and what we need to see in this is the goodness of God and the evilness of the world that we live in. We live in a fallen, evil world, and there's a lot of hurting people. There's a lot of emotions. It does not make one sin does not make another sin acceptable. And so we see all of the pain and we see all of the hurting that's going on. And our response as believers is really to just cling to the Lord, share the Lord with those around us, try to figure out how we can help and pray and understand the emotions that people are going through. Again, there's evil people that are doing evil things. But that doesn't mean that they don't deserve the love of Christ, and that doesn't mean that we as believers can't try to put ourselves in their shoes and feel the emotions that they're feeling and the things that they're going through as well. And personally, what we can do is cling to the Lord right now and run to Him. And so I think one of the best ways that we can close up this time of worship right now, or is service, is with a time of worship where we can really focus on God. And so we're going to bring the band back in as they close this up with a time of worship. And so worship with us right now, and then our service will be done.
stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens. Feel the darkness shaking, all the dead are coming back to life, oh back to life. Hear the song awaken, all creation singing, live alive, 'cause you're alive. You called me out of the grave, you called me into the light, you called my name and then my heart came alive. Your love is greater, your love is stronger, your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater, your love is stronger, your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. And what a love we found, that can't hold us down. We shout it out, we're alive, 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found, that can't hold us down. We shout it out.